Well, happy Good Friday, everybody. I have to admit, I feel funny saying that because we're remembering the crucifixion of Christ on Good Friday. But I guess we can say happy because his death means our atonement, our salvation. His suffering brought us joy. Blessed be his name. I look forward to celebrating Jesus this Sunday in God's house on Easter. I hope you do as well. Today in our Bible reading plan and our devotion, we are in Luke chapter 10. And the part I want to focus on is the end of the chapter, verses 38 and 42, a fairly well-known story about the sisters. It says in verse 38, now as they were traveling along, he entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister called Mary who was seated at the Lord's feet listening to his word, listening to Jesus teach. But Martha was distracted. What was she distracted by? Well, he says, with all her preparations, she's getting dinner ready, things like that. And she came up to him, she came up to Jesus and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the serving alone? Then tell her to help me. But the Lord answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and bothered about so many things, but only one thing is necessary. For Mary has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken away from her. That's an interesting story, and I think it illustrates the fact that quite often in life, we stay busy. Good things, unimportant things, things that we have no control over, things we do have a control over. But the reality is, in our modern culture, we complain about busy and wanting downtime, but the truth is we fill downtime for the most part with stuff. And we keep ourselves so busy, we don't have time for what Jesus called the necessary things, the good part. Sitting at his feet and listening to him. Busyness versus spiritual rest and renewal. Focusing on physical food, got to get dinner ready, versus spiritual food. Physical activity, going to work, doing the yard, cleaning the house, going to ball games, going fishing, going hunting, doing this, doing that, versus spiritual activity. And if we allow the non-spiritual to so consume our lives that we neglect the spiritual, we have not chosen the necessary, we have not chosen the good or the better. We are distracted by all this other. Now, I know there are things we do not have much control over, but the truth is there are things we do have control over, and many of us, if we care enough about the spiritual things, can say no to some of the physical so we can say yes to some of the spiritual. And by the way, if you don't learn how to say no to some of the physical, you will never be able to say yes to all the spiritual that you need to say yes to. How often do you sit at Jesus' feet and listen? How often do you spiritually rest, and how often are you spiritually fed? In our vision here at First Baptist, and we call Vision Forward, when it comes to growing disciples, one of our statements is that we want every believer to be able to spiritually feed himself or herself so that you don't go a day without spiritual food. I'm thankful you watch these videos or listen to the podcast. I pray you continue making time for spiritual listening and spiritual eating every day of your life. And I pray you do so this Sunday as we celebrate Easter, the resurrection of Jesus. And invite someone to come with you. Doing God's will is also spiritual food. God bless you. I'll see you on Easter Sunday, 8:30, 9:45, and 11 o'clock. Looking forward to worshiping Jesus and you being part of the celebration. God bless you.